Because the truth of the matter is, as citizens of this country, we deserve a lot better than what we're actually getting. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I really hope that you enjoy this video. So as you can tell by the title of the video, it is time to discuss the status of the nation. Again, more specifically around the Constitutional Court and tea. So first things first, former President Jacob Zuma has defied the Constitutional Court's ruling that basically said that he had to appear before the State Capture Commission. So Jacob Zuma has come out to say that, he will not be doing that, and even went as far as to say that, he doesn't care if he's gets arrested because the Constitutional Court has already been so politicized. And that's the thing that I'm coming to learn with our former president. It's either things are politicized or, they're biased. But, a lot of really smart legal analysts and people who know how all of this legal stuff works basically say that it doesn't work that way. He can't simply say that he won't comply. And that basically, the Constitutional Court is the highest court in the land. And Jacob Zuma really has no other place to go at this point. So what I'm thinking is that this is turning into a classic case of we are going to see who blinks first. Because the truth of the matter is that, he can't just simply say that he won't comply and then it just gets left alone. So the question really becomes, what are some of the consequences that we're actually going to see happen? So the thing that I really don't understand, especially when it comes to Jacob Zuma, is that, he spends all of this time talking about his innocence, how things are not what they appear to be, even with his supporters, a lot of it, he's being set up or whatever the case is. Because I'm like, if I were him, I would be using every single opportunity given to me to clear my name, especially after the testimony that we heard about a week and a half ago about all those millions and billions. I would be using any and every single opportunity to clear my name. I wouldn't even need a court order telling me that I have to appear. I would show up at 8 o'clock in the morning with all of my receipts and all of my proof ready to tell my side of the story. So I get really confused because I'm like, why all the theatrics? It's like, why not just go in, prove your innocence, clear your name, and then just leave so you can be left alone? Like, this is the most that I've seen a person go through to not prove their innocence. Here's the thing that I've always believed about our former president, is that I truly believe that, he knows all of the secrets, he knows where all of the skeletons are. And I feel like now, like many other times before, this is a classic case of, if I go down, I take everybody with me. Because in a perfect republic, our politics wouldn't even get to this point, to be quite honest. But in a perfect republic, we would be dealing with people who are saying that if they know that they've been caught up in whatever it may be, corruption or anything that is unseemingly, they would sort of tell on themselves, if you will, right? They would advocate burning the whole thing to the ground because they would say that it is for the benefit of the people in this country because they deserve more. So yes, hold us all accountable, but it really is just wishful thinking on my part. With all of that, I truly believe that there right now are some people who are more stressed about this than he is, because I truly believe that he is of the opinion that other people are going to make a way for him out of all of this. So I guess this is just where we are when it comes to this particular situation, is that we're really going to see who blinks first. So in light of all of this happening, a couple of journalists and media houses caught up with ANC Secretary General Magashule, and this is what he had to say about all of that.
What do you want?
What is your reaction to former President Jacob Zuma saying he wants to defy the orders from the Constitutional Court?
No, he's
and
not
the
defying.
He says he's going
He's saying he leaves Comrade Zuma, President Zuma alone. Just leave him. What is the problem? What has Zuma done now?
So is it okay for a president to defy the Constitution of the Republic and the Concord?
No, President Zuma is President Zuma. So I can't talk on behalf of President Zuma.
The ANC's reaction is you have a former leader of the ANC doing this.
President Zuma is a South African. He has his own rights. So you can't want me to talk on behalf of President Zuma.
But you're the ANC. There are calls now for him to be suspended. Will the ANC entertain that?
No. Why? Why should we suspend a person who believes in what he believes in?
I'm confused so when he, I guess, poses the question of why would we suspend someone for what they believe in, I'm like, I feel like that's not what's being talked about here, right? Because we're not talking about, saying that, this is an ANC member who, I don't know, believes that, I don't know, KFC is better than Nando's. That's not what we're talking about here, right? We're talking about an ANC member who is saying that this is what the highest law of the land has said, and I'm simply not going to comply. So I think it's interesting that he makes it a very flippant thing, like, oh, people are allowed their belief systems, and we're not, going to do anything about it. It's like, it's not really a belief system. Like, the law is the law whether or not you choose to believe it. It's still the law. So that question, him throwing it back like that, just had me very confused. And then he goes on to say that in the time of the TRC commission, when PW Botha didn't want to appear, nothing was said about it. And I thought that was very interesting, because I saw so many other people on social media basically harp on about this as well, to be like, at that time when that happened, no one really said anything about it. And I was like, I really actually wanted to kind of research a little bit and kind of figure out, like, was that actually true and how it actually went down. What I then found with regards to the TRC is that when PW Botha refused to appear and basically refused, to adhere to the subpoenas, he was fined 10,000 rands or a year's imprisonment. So that's what the records were showing. And then there was an old Mail and Guardian article that I found that basically said that he was able to appeal that. And it seems like it was on a technicality from what I understand. So it was basically saying that when that subpoena was issued, it was for him to appear after the active lifespan or whatever of the TRC commission. And it even goes on to say that the commission said that, it was sad that, this technical defense by his lawyers, had taken precedence basically over the people of this country, getting the truth and reconciliation of everything that happened during that time. So when I consider that and the point, I guess, that Ace is trying to make, I'm like, are you sure these are the kinds of parallels that you want to be making? Like, are you sure you want to be comparing your guy to PW Botha?
Go to the days of TRC where Botha refused to go to the TRCs and nobody said anything. No, it's not a standard. It's not a standard.
Is
Nobody.
Behavior the standard?
No, it's not a standard. You, the media, did not say anything.
And then another clip resurfaced where he said this.
Without now this mean that you would perhaps be in a position to discuss with both the current president and the former president to try and find what could be an amicable solution so that there is abidance to the constitution at least?
Don't worry too much about the constitution. That's why I say at some stage we will talk about what is happening in South Africa today.
So am I hearing that correctly, right? That the Secretary General of the ruling party in this country is saying that, the Constitution is not something that we should be taking seriously or that we shouldn't worry about it? Okay. So then, of course, ANC spokesperson Bulemabe came out and basically said that, no, look, the ANC obviously respects the Constitution and they believe that it's the apex law of the land. The other thing that I found very telling was the fact that, he's like, yeah, don't worry too much about the Constitution. We need to talk about the things that have happened in this country. And it's this tactic, that I see get employed a lot, just almost like as a distraction, like, no, we're not going to talk about that, and then raising up this new issue just to kind of get people to focus on that. And I'm like, the truth of the matter is that people can focus on multiple things at the same time, and I generally don't like it when, people do this a lot, where you want to talk about a specific thing, but then they want to raise something else, right? Because in this context, this is what was being spoken about, but then it's almost like, yeah, okay, Shab, but let's talk about this. It's like, why even do that? So then, of course, enter Julius Malema. So Julius went on his Twitter and sent a tweet to the former president because he doesn't have his number. He doesn't have his email. He doesn't have a way to contact him. He doesn't know anyone who can put him in touch with the former president. He has none of that. He just has Twitter. So he went on his Twitter, and basically said that he wants to have tea with the former president. And the former president, of course, also having no other way to contact Julius Malema, responded on Twitter and said, you know what, Nkandla is my home, pull through. The thing that's the most interesting about these two is that everything that they do is very deliberate, it's very calculated. So even with something like this, talking about it and organizing it on a public platform, they knew exactly what it was doing and the type of reaction and sort of frenzy that it was going to cause, because it really did. The only thing that was kind of odd for me though was when Julius Malema was talking about how, he would get the Ekurhuleni Mayor Mzwandile Masina to sort of put it together. That was a bit odd for me, and I don't quite understand his connection in all of this. It's safe to say that these two have a very interesting history and relationship. I mean, we all remember in 2008, Julius Malema defending Jacob Zuma, very boldly and saying that, he's willing to die for him and that he'll take up arms and even kill for him. Then fast forward into 2012, where things were a little bit tense, and he said that we have seen under President Jacob Zuma democracy being replaced with dictatorship. And then of course there was that time where he got kicked out of the party, and then he went to go form the EFF, and then in 2018 he said something along the lines of, he had warned all of us about Jacob Zuma, and pretty much everything that happened sort of in the middle.
Lo tata lo usile. Zuma is nothing close to what Mandela was. Nothing. Stop misleading yourself.
Honorable Malema, what is the point of order?
Honorable Speaker, we are committing a serious constitutional blunder by allowing the President to speak in this House. We have since written a letter to you, firstly to ask you to discipline the President. And we did that through the normal channels of this Parliament because we understood that following the Constitutional Court judgment, there must be consequences. It can't be business as usual. You are going on to continue with the President without any consequences, even when the Constitutional Court pronounced clearly that the President violated his oath of office. Now we wrote again to you yesterday, asking you not to allow the President to come to this House. Because when the Constitutional Court found that he did not respect his oath of office, he was honorable no more. And this House only allows honorable people to come and speak here. Not criminals of note, not people who continue to collapse this country because of their personal interest.
There is a judgment by the Constitutional Court that Ubabaga Tutuzani has violated the Constitution.
Honorable Josie.
Last sentence, Speaker, last sentence. We wrote to you as the head of Parliament that you must constitute disciplinary proceedings against Ubabaga Tutuzani so that he can be answerable for violating the Constitution.
Otherwise, we are taking you on review. You are acting unconstitutionally. You must warn her first. You cannot just call Sergeant at Arms as a first act. Warn her first and see if she's not cooperative. She's even sitting down now. There is no need for Sergeant at Arms. Come here, Papa Tutuzani, come.
I will be honest though, when it came out that Jacob Zuma, had said that he was going to defy the Constitutional Court, I was very interested to hear what Julius Malema was going to have to say about it, considering how strongly he's felt in the past. So of course right now, because of this, the question on everybody's mind is, what is this Tea Party going to be all about? Like, what are they going to be discussing, And I feel like there are many different scenarios here, It could be a case that Julius Malema will have tea with Jacob Zuma to sort of, talk sense into him and say, just appear before the commission. It's unlikely, but hey. Or it could be, that they will form an alliance, and find ways to discredit the Zondo Commission, especially when you consider that it's been alleged that the commission was looking to investigate Julius Malema because of the whole VBS saga. So maybe that's really what it is, to say that, okay, our backs might be up against the wall with this thing, so how can we both best, have a strategy and figure out our way through this. At this point, you know, the possibilities are endless and people are wrecking their brains to try and figure out, you know, what it may be. Or it might even be something that, you know, is a little bit more sinister, you know, that they could be working on ways, you know, to discredit the current president that we have now, because we both know that they're not really a fan of him. Like, the possibilities really are endless at this point. The thing about Julius Malema that a lot of people have said over the years is that, you know, he changes his mind a lot, you know, and I think at this point we should know that whatever his stance is, at a later stage, it's bound to change. I mean, in 2008, he was the same person who was talking very strongly about the fact that Thabo Mbeki must be removed as president. And then in 2016, him and the rest of the EFF leadership sat down and had tea with Thabo Mbeki before the local elections. You know, maybe there isn't some grand thing behind all of this. Maybe Julius Malema just really likes having tea, you know, and he wanted to have someone to have tea with. And this was the only guy who was available to have tea with him. Who's to say? Anyway guys, thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment and subscribe, because I really want to know your thoughts on all of this, like what you think this tea party could be signaling, like what's actually happening, you know, in the background that we're not aware of, and what could potentially come out of this. But yeah, I really would love to hear your thoughts, and I will see you in the next one.